I'm not sure how to formulate this post, so I'm simply going to write down everything that has happened. For the past few months, I had started to rethink our relation. I have felt that I lost control over my life and all my time has been spent with her. I have neglected my friends and hobbies, to which my parents, whom I live with, have described as me being kidnapped. Although there are happy times, the fights, emotional abuse, and physical abuse had come to a point where I understood that we can never fix this. With physical abuse, I mean hitting me in the balls, scratching my arms, pinching me with nails, etc. Nevertheless, today I finally had the courage to tell her about how I felt, and she broke down, claiming how we could fix it all and solve all our problems. Seeing her being this upset kind of made me back down and make her feel better of sorts. Instead saying that we would only take a pause, during which time we would reevaluate and rethink what we wanted in our life. Still, I have no intention of getting back together with her, and in hindsight, it would probably be best if I broke it off cleanly. I had fixed for her stepdad to come pick her up from my place, but she ran off to a friend, and instead, I packed up all her stuff and gave it to him. A few hours, still at her friend's. Later, I got a text saying how she agreed that maybe a little time off from each other would serve us well. I know I gave her the wrong intentions, but I was, and still am, hoping on sorting everything out and completing the breakup when she had some time to cool down and our pause was over. At 2 p.m., I read a message from her, which she sent 2 hours earlier, saying she was in the hospital and needed me. I called her. It turns out when she got home from her friend, she saw the packages with her things in the entrance and freaked out, believing that I was actually going to break up with her. She then proceeded to go into the bathroom and slit her wrists. It's currently 3 a.m., and I have no idea how I should proceed. She's in the hospital and seems to be doing better at the moment. I don't want her to unalive herself. Is it a bad idea to get back together with her? Should I try to visit her and talk to her? I think I know the right answer, but I just want confirmation so I don't do anything stupid. Might just throw this information out there. My girlfriend has a history of mental illness and self-harm and has tried unalived in the past. This is my first relationship, and we have been together for close to 2 years. All my family and friends think we had to break up as well. Update 1. I never thought this many people would respond, thank you all. I guess I really needed to know the answer by reading it over 100 times. She got home from the hospital at around 4 a.m. yesterday and called me. I know I shouldn't have answered, but I did and reaffirmed that we would be sorting this out next week. Although you are all telling me to run as fast as possible, I can't just ghost her. On the other hand, I have the feeling that she will rope me in if I go meet with her in person, so maybe just a simple "goodbye, we're done" text will be better. On another note, this will probably turn into a complete shit show, which it already kind of is, I guess, in the near future. Reading some of your responses, knowing from her past relations, and what she has said in passing, she'll try to make my life a complete hell on earth. She has never spent more than a couple weeks without being in a relationship for half her life, and I doubt that's going to change. Hopefully someone can calm her down just a tad bit. I'll update this later since I don't believe this is the end. Update 1.5. From reading all your comments and thinking about this from the most rational perspective I can muster at the moment, I have decided to entirely block her out of my life from this day onward. I have blocked her on all social media and do not plan to interact with her directly in the near future. I feel quite guilty to leave her hoping on getting back together, and she will definitely resent me for it. From what I have gathered, she will do so anyways. It was a mistake to answer her call yesterday and not block her from the get-go, but it cannot be changed now. She does not have a particularly supportive mom, but I do hope with all my heart she is getting the help she needs from elsewhere. Another realization I have come to by your answers is that I probably have a large boundary issue. All this would never have come to this if I had set firmer boundaries. I guess it has been a valuable, albeit painful, lesson that will serve me for the rest of my life. Hopefully my life won't be ruined in the coming months, but even then, my life won't be over. On another note, I spent the day with my friends and have had a great time. It's nice to feel that I can do what I want and like to do again. I will pick up writing again, and the amount of free time I will have feels refreshing, but at the same time, burdening. My life is my life again, whatever happens. I'm the driver. Thanks to everyone who has commented. Without all these comments which have given a 100% uniform opinion that I should under no circumstance continue my relationship with her, I believe that is exactly what I would have done. This update might be a little bit of a stretch of the rules. I will continue to post on my profile of what happens in the future for anyone interested. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. She did that to manipulate you into getting her back. If she did it to not get your attention, she wouldn't have contacted you. Her family would have. Please move on. Talk to your parents about the best course to navigate this, but let them know she has abused you physically as well. Please be safe during this time. I don't put it past her to threaten you or show up at your house crazily. I am so sorry she abused you. That's horrible, and you deserve better. I'm proud of you for leaving. Comment 2. Visiting her will probably cause more confusion. If she is getting help in a hospital, she is at the very least safe. Assuming she has friends and/or family support, she should lean on them right now. I know you probably care about her despite all this, but the best thing you can do for her is give her space to heal and become a better or healthier version of herself. You probably need some support now, too, from your friends and family, as this doesn't sound easy. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments from last time. So, here's what went down. After I blocked her, I thought I was finally breathing easy, but then her mom showed up at my door, red-faced and screaming. She accused me of abandoning her daughter and threatened to drag my name through the mud. I tried to explain, but she wasn't having any of it. She left, but not before saying she'd make me regret my decision. The next day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was her ex before me, and he was furious. Said she'd gone to him after our split, and now she was causing chaos in his life too. He warned me she was planning something big to get back at both of us. I hung up, feeling a knot in my stomach. I tried to shake it off and went to hang out with my friends. But when I got home, my parents were waiting with grim faces. Someone had keyed their car and spray-painted lies about me all over it. My heart sank. I knew it was her, or someone she'd convinced to do it. My parents were supportive, but I could tell they were worried. The next day, I got a text from a buddy saying there were rumors flying around about me, lies about things I'd never done, painting me as the bad guy. I was furious. I knew she was behind it, trying to ruin my reputation. I felt trapped, like no matter what I did, she was one step ahead. But then, something unexpected happened. Her stepdad called me. He said he knew what she was doing and that it wasn't right. He told me he had proof of her lies. Texts, recording, the works. He said he'd had enough of her manipulating people and wanted to help me clear my name. I was hesitant, but I agreed to meet him. We met at a coffee shop and he showed me everything. It was all there, clear as day. He said he'd stand by me if I wanted to take this to the authorities. I was overwhelmed but grateful. With his help, I went to the police and showed them the evidence. They said they'd look into it, and I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The next day, her stepdad called again. He said she'd been taken in for questioning and that her mom was finally seeing the truth. I couldn't believe it. It felt like, for the first time in a long time, things were going my way. I spent the next few days laying low, spending time with my family and friends. They all stood by me, and I realized how lucky I was to have them. I started writing again, pouring all my feelings into it. It felt good to have control over my life again. Then, the final blow came. Her stepdad called to say she'd been charged with defamation and property damage. He sounded relieved, like a huge burden had been lifted from his shoulders too. I felt a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, and a bit of guilt. But I knew I'd done the right thing. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm ready to face it head on. I've learned a lot about myself and about setting boundaries. It's been a wild ride, but I'm coming out of it stronger. Thanks for sticking with me through this. It means a lot. My brother dies and his ex shows up at the funeral. So I chase her off, but when she comes back pregnant, I plot the ultimate payback. I don't use Reddit, and this is a friend's account. My 28-year-old brother passed away last month from the cancer he had been battling for the past 2.5 years. His ex, who he dated for 2 years, showed up at the funeral. I screamed at her and chased her away during his funeral. We were always friendly, but after reading texts leading to their breakup, I'm angry at this woman. My dad takes me away and explains that she showed a great deal of respect for my brother by coming to the funeral, even though she didn't need to be there as an ex. He tells me that her paying her final respects should be respected as well. He puts me in timeout and invites her back. My family has a genetic predisposition to cancer. Our mom died of cancer when we were very young. Initially, when my brother found out he had cancer, he hid his condition from all of us. She sensed that he was hiding something and accused him of cheating, leading to their breakup. After finding out that he wasn't cheating but was actually sick, they got back together. During their last months together, she always complained that he was tired when they hung out, that he lost his romantic spark after becoming sick, and that they never spent time together or went out. They broke up around Valentine's Day, and she complained that he never made Valentine's Day plans with her. This is word for word the last conversation they had before they broke up. Her: "I'm sick of you being tired as an excuse to not make plans again. It's Valentine's Day. Did you even plan anything, or are we just going to stay at your place?" Him: "I planned something as a surprise. I'm sorry that I'm not well, I really am. This isn't fair to you, and I feel bad." Him: "You always tell me to rest. Maybe I took it too literally. I'm really sorry. I love you, and I'll put in more effort." Her: "Sure, sometimes I mean it. You should rest. Sometimes I wish you would put in more effort. This sucks. I just want a normal relationship. Is that too much to ask?" Him: "I'm sorry. I thought I could handle it better, but apparently I can't." Her: "This shouldn't be hard. It's not hard to be normal. I hate it. It's all your fault." Him: "I'm not going to get better soon. You deserve better. It's not fair for you to be stuck with my illness. We should break up." Blocks her. The breakup devastated him. It felt like he lost the will to fight. Watching him slowly die ended the life of me. He loved her a lot, and he even left her some money, encouraging her to go back to school, even though they had been broken up for over a year. Why can't my dad see that it is incredibly triggering for me to see her? It's her fault that he died heartbroken. Why is my dad being understanding towards her? I cannot forgive him. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I had to check your age because I at first assumed you were a teenager. You are grieving and upset, but you were rightfully not involved in your brother's romantic relationships. You don't know everything that went on between them. And making a scene at the funeral based on something you read that was not meant for you was an unfortunate choice. Your father wanted people there who cared for your brother, and your brother's ex is one of those peeps. You don't have to like her, and you don't have to spend time with her, but you holding something you don't fully understand against her is not your father's issue. I am very sorry for your loss, and I hope you can talk to someone to help you work through your grief at your brother's passing. Comment 2. Ex-funeral director here. She's an easy target for your misplaced grief. Your dad wasn't trying to trigger you. He wanted her there because he was her once. He had to watch someone who he loved and had children with get sick and pass on too soon. Now he has to bury a child. He needs your support. You may hate her, and that's fine. But ask yourself, what would your brother want? You know the answer, and there's no shame in grief counseling. I offered it to every family for no charge. It really helps while you go through the grief process. Now for the update, thank you for tuning in again. So, here's what's been going down. Just when I thought things couldn't get more messed up, they did. Remember the ex? Well, she's been hanging around a lot since the funeral. My dad, being the problem solver he is, invited her over for dinner last week. Yeah, dinner at our place, like a family dinner. I couldn't believe it. I was so mad I could barely look at her. Turns out, she's been struggling big time since my brother passed. She lost her job, and with the money my brother left her, She's been trying to get back to school, but she's been blowing through that cash fast. She's got nowhere to go, and my dad, being the soft-hearted guy he is, offered to help her out. I was fuming. I mean, how could he just forget everything she said to my brother? But then, something happened that I didn't expect. She broke down in tears right there at the dinner table, apologizing for how she treated my brother. She said she was under a lot of stress and took it out on him. She said she never knew how serious his condition was until it was too late. I wanted to scream at her, tell her it was all just an act, but I didn't. I just sat there, silent. A few days later, I found out she's been volunteering at the cancer center where my brother was treated. She's been helping other patients, giving them company, listening to their stories. It's like she's trying to make amends for what happened with my brother. I didn't want to admit it, but it kind of changed how I saw her. Then, last night I overheard her talking to my dad. She was crying again, saying she felt so guilty about everything. She said she thought my brother was pushing her away on purpose, that he didn't love her anymore. She didn't realize he was just trying to protect her from his illness. It hit me then, how much she actually cared about him. I never knew. It's been pretty tough, honestly. I've been dealing with my own grief, and seeing her brought back all these memories of my brother. It's like reopening a wound every time I see her face. But I'm starting to see that maybe she's not the villain I made her out to be. Maybe she's just another person who loved my brother and is trying to cope with his loss. And then the news dropped. She's pregnant. My brother's going to be a father. Well, he would have been. She found out just after the breakup, and she didn't tell him because they weren't talking anymore. She's been carrying the secret for months, and now she's decided to keep the baby. My dad's over the moon. He's going to be a granddad. But me? I don't know how to feel. It's like a piece of my brother is still here, but it's also a reminder of what we've lost. I'm trying to come to terms with it all. It's hard, you know? I'm still angry, still hurt, but I'm also starting to feel something like forgiveness? I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'm trying. It's what my brother would have wanted, I think. So that's the update. It's been a busy couple of weeks, and I'm just trying to keep my head above water. Thanks for listening. My husband wants to date other women to feel single again. So I show him what being truly alone feels like and change the locks. Edit 2. Hey guys, he just called me saying he's filing for divorce because he doesn't like how I handled this situation. I told him I thought he was wrong, but needed to go to sleep and talk about it tomorrow when it's not 3 a.m. since I've been up since 7. So I guess it's not a problem anymore. I have to figure my life out from here and how I'm going to handle life alone. Sorry. Edit. Wanted to clarify a couple things I saw in the comments. He's not already cheating on me. He does not leave the house and has a flip phone and one friend. He has no car or job currently, but we are working on that. We have been married for 2 years, but together for 8. He also said he would want me to wouldn't mind. Can't remember exact phrasing. If I went on dates with other men, as long as we didn't kiss or have intimacy, which is what he plans not to do for his dates. I originally posted in Am I the Idiot? But it got removed for a relationship post, and I'm not sure what's the correct sub to put this in. My 26-year-old female husband, 26-year-old male, brought up to me over dinner tonight that he thinks it would be a good idea for him to seek out attractive women to go on dates with because he's married and doesn't get to experience being single anymore. He wants them to be attractive women who are attracted to him to make him feel better about himself because more women wanting him equals sign more attractive. I felt offended and speechless by this suggestion. He said they wouldn't be real dates because he wouldn't have intimacy with them. He would just come home to me, and that he just needed to get out and have dinner with people who aren't me. I told him he can go out to dinner with anyone and go out with friends, including female friends, anytime he wanted to, but that seeking out women he finds attractive, specifically to go on dates with them to feel single again, is not okay. He's upset and says I'm untrustworthy as a wife because he can't come to me with a simple and harmless suggestion that doesn't break any boundaries, without me getting defensive, upset, or angry. Then he said that it's because I'm insecure that I don't want him to do this. In my opinion, I don't feel insecure at all. I don't care if he spends time with females. It's the intent of the time being spent that makes me upset. I will admit, when I said that it was inappropriate and I don't like it at all, and he kept pressing it and telling me I was wrong, unreasonable, I did get pretty mad and shut down. I raised my voice, not yelling, but raising my voice. And I did say it was a stupid suggestion and say he was crazy for thinking I would be okay with that. So it's not like I was an ultra-rational epitome of peace or anything, but I still don't feel like I was a jerk for getting upset at that suggestion. But he is adamant that I'm being a jerk. He's now reading me articles about how it's controlling and insecure to not want your partner to have platonic relationships with people of the opposite intimacy. But I am trying to tell him it's the intent behind it that makes it inappropriate and hurtful. And he is telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. I said that if he were to have a female friend he made at work or something and hung out with them, it wouldn't be an issue. The issue is specifically seeking out only women to have one-on-one dinner dates with. And he has no intention of even being their friend afterwards. So in my eyes, that blurs the line of platonic. Technically, it does fit the textbook definition, as he is not having intimacy with them. But I feel as though the textbook definition is not always how things are perceived. How do I handle this situation? Where do I go from here? Was I wrong and should apologize? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Your husband is being absurdly ridiculous. He is specifically talking about dating, which is not the same thing as having platonic friendships. Does he also think that you should go out on dates with men you find attractive? Honestly, I think this is a good topic to discuss with a marriage counselor. It's a doozy. Comment 2. Belonging to a climbing group in which some participants are women is a platonic relationship. Seeking out attractive women to date so that he feels more attractive is not platonic. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. So, after that whole mess with my husband wanting to go on dates, things just spiraled. He started going out more, saying he was meeting with that one friend of his, but I had my doubts. I mean, who wouldn't, right? Then, out of nowhere, he landed a job. Good news, right? Well, it would have been if he hadn't started coming home late without much of an explanation, just mumbling about work pressures and needing space. One evening, he didn't come home at all. I was worried sick, calling his flip phone with no answer. He strolled in the next morning with some story about falling asleep at his friend's place after a few drinks. I wanted to believe him, but it just didn't sit right with me. A few weeks later, I found a receipt for a fancy restaurant in his jacket. It was for 2, and the timestamp was for one of those nights he claimed to be working late. When I confronted him, he brushed it off, saying it was a business dinner with a colleague. But I knew better. His workplace was casual, and they never did dinners like that. Then, the bombshell dropped. He told me he was unhappy, that he felt trapped and needed to find himself. He said he was leaving just like that. I was stunned, watching him pack a bag with his things, leaving me with a million questions and a heart full of dread. The aftermath was a blur of emotions. I was angry, hurt, and somehow still hopeful he'd come back, realize his mistake. But life had to go on. I started focusing on myself, my job, and my friends, who were a great support. Just as I was finding my footing, he came back. Said he made a mistake, that he missed me, and wanted to try again. I was hesitant, but I took him back. I thought we could work through it, that we could get back to how things were. But deep down, I knew it was a mistake. Things were rocky, but we were trying, or at least I thought we were. Then, one day I got a call from a woman claiming she was pregnant with his child. My world stopped. He denied it, of course, said she was lying, that he didn't even know her. But when she sent me a picture of them together, smiling at that same fancy restaurant, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I was furious, but he had an explanation for everything. He said it was from before, that he'd cut ties with her, that he wanted to be with me. I wanted to throw him out, but I didn't. I couldn't. I was afraid of being alone, of starting over. So I stayed, and we swept it all under the rug. Now he's got a car, and he's out all the time. He says it's for work, that he's making up for lost time. And I pretend to believe him because it's easier than facing the truth. I know people are talking, saying I should leave him, that I deserve better. But it's not that simple. I've invested so much in this relationship, in him. It's hard to let go, even when every sign tells me I should. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.